All around the globe, scientists have chased the dream of infinite, clean power. But hidden in Germany is a bizarre machine that quietly shook the energy world. It might look like sci-fi, but this twisting steel beast is absolutely real, and it could reshape the future of electricity. Unbelievable? Perhaps. A quiet town's secret. Few expect a technological revolution to emerge in a small German coastal town. Yet, that's exactly what happened in Greifswald. Tucked between serene Baltic waters and winding medieval streets is the Max Planck Institute for Plasma Physics, home to an otherworldly device known as the Wendelstein 7X. At first glance, visitors see a peculiar building discreetly blending into the local landscape. Inside, however, is a realm of swirling magnetics and superheated plasma. The entire project took nearly 2 decades to assemble. Many locals had no idea they shared a neighborhood with a machine that could someday fuel entire continents. Tourists might pass by, unaware that behind those walls, history is being rewritten. The impossible shape. Push open the doors and you find a steel labyrinth. A reactor shaped more like a twisted pretzel than the neat donut most associate with fusion. This is a stellarator, a design once deemed too complicated for real-world use. Traditional reactors, called tokamaks, rely on symmetrical magnetic fields and an electric current coursing through the plasma. The stellarator, by contrast, generates its complex fields purely through precisely contoured magnets. Each coil is a masterpiece of engineering, individually cast and machined to exacting specifications. Skeptics thought it was impossible to mold steel like this at scale, but Germany insisted on forging ahead. They believed that if they could get it right, the rewards would be immense. A long road to completion. Construction began quietly in the early 2000s. There were challenges, specialized materials, one-of-a-kind manufacturing processes, and endless testing. Engineers worried about tiny errors that could unravel everything. One coil, off by a fraction of a millimeter, might cause magnetic fields to misalign, dooming the entire project. Yet progress never stopped. Teams worked day and night, double-checking every weld, measuring every curve, scanning every seam. Delays arose, budgets stretched, and critics questioned if it was worth it. But deep down, researchers remained steadfast. They saw beyond the complexities to a future free from meltdown risks and toxic waste. Slowly, piece by piece, the Wendelstein 7X began to take shape, defying skeptics at each turn. First switch on. In December 2015, the day of the first plasma arrived. Tension was high. Would this bizarre contraption even start? Scientists gathered in a control room lined with monitors. Buttons were pressed, signals checked, and then plasma. A ghostly glow lit the screens. The room erupted in celebration. For a few short seconds, the Wendelstein 7X proved itself. This initial test was just baby steps toward a much grander goal. But for the team, it confirmed that years of careful design hadn't been wasted. Those swirling, luminous gases signaled a new dawn. News outlets covered it briefly, but the project still flew under most people's radar. The real breakthroughs were yet to come. Fusion. The big prize. Why bother with all this complexity? Because fusion promises what fossil fuels can't. Picture the sun, fueled by fusing hydrogen atoms under intense pressure. Recreating that on Earth means harnessing virtually limitless energy using isotopes of hydrogen. When fused, they release enormous power, plus harmless helium. The process emits no carbon dioxide and carries no meltdown risk. Unlike fission, which splits uranium and leaves behind radioactive waste, fusion's waste is minimal and largely short-lived. Critics once dismissed fusion as science fiction, a concept forever stuck 30 years in the future. But each new experiment, especially in places like Greifswald, moves the finish line closer. If it works, it could change everything. How stellarators differ. Tokamaks are the traditional favorites, used by projects across the globe like ITER in France. Stellarators, however, take a different route. They twist their magnets around the plasma in a carefully calculated geometry. The plasma circles within a 3D puzzle of fields, staying confined without needing a strong current inside it. This removes one major headache tokamaks face: current-driven instabilities that can cause sudden collapses. Yet building these magnets demands unimaginable precision. For years, researchers thought it was simpler to stick with the donut shape. Germany boldly disagreed. They poured resources into advanced computing, perfecting the coil geometry. The bet? Once perfected, a stellarator could run more stably and longer than any tokamak. German precision engineering. Made in Germany conjures images of well-crafted cars and appliances, but inside the Wendelstein 7X, that reputation for precision shines at an entirely new level. The reactor's magnets must match the theoretical design with microscopic accuracy. Each section of the machine underwent rigorous 3D laser scanning before installation. Bolts and brackets were custom-made. Even the alignment of vacuum vessels required specialized jigs to ensure everything fit exactly. Meanwhile, the cryogenic system keeps superconducting coils cooled to near absolute zero, a temperature difference of over 200 million degrees from the plasma center. Each part of this system demanded cutting-edge solutions. In the end, the project became a showcase of engineering at its highest form, the 8-minute milestone. In 2022, the Wendelstein 7X stunned observers by maintaining a stable plasma for 8 glorious minutes. In fusion research, a few seconds of stability is cause for applause. 8 minutes felt like an eternity. This achievement signaled that the stellarator concept wasn't just theoretical. It demonstrated remarkable control and confinement even with limited power. Where tokamaks often struggle with bursts of instability, the W7X glowed on and on. Physicists monitored temperature, density, and magnetic field data in real time, witnessing a consistent performance they'd only dreamed of. Suddenly, the world noticed. The machine in Greifswald had proven that long-duration fusion plasmas weren't decades away. They were happening now, in real life. Why 8 minutes matter? 8 minutes may seem short compared to the continuous burn we hope to achieve one day, but in fusion, it's monumental. It shows that controlling plasma isn't just a game of seconds anymore. This sets the stage for scaling up power levels and durations. Critically, it also hints that stellarators could bypass some of the big hurdles tokamaks face. No meltdown risk, no fear of dramatic current-driven disruptions. If W7X can hit such milestones consistently, it pushes fusion closer to becoming a reliable energy source. This success wasn't a fluke. It was the result of painstaking design, and each additional second is a leap forward in the quest for energy from the stars. Reaction from the global community. International fusion teams didn't immediately hail this machine as a game-changer, but once the data came out, those doubters went silent. Researchers from the US, China, Japan, and beyond poured over Greifswald's results. Conferences buzzed with fresh interest in the stellarator approach. Even major tokamak-focused projects wanted to learn how W7X maintained such stability. Suddenly, investment arms and government agencies that once overlooked stellarators began funding them. Germany's underdog gamble was paying off. Across labs worldwide, engineers took notes and debated new avenues. Some started to ask if the next generation of fusion reactors might not be shaped like a donut after all, but twisted in the distinctive style of the stellarator, a shift in priorities. For decades, the world pinned its hopes on big tokamak collaborations like ITER, massive budgets, multiple nations, and a design well studied over the years. But the Wendelstein 7X's breakthrough forced a re-evaluation. By showcasing longer plasma runs without violent instabilities, it brought stellarators back into serious consideration. Governments began setting aside funds for alternative fusion research. Private companies, once single-minded in their pursuit of tokamak ventures, explored the possibility of building smaller, more manageable stellarators. The conversation shifted from when will ITER finally produce net power to how can we refine this new path. Large-scale experiments remain critical, but now there's more than one road leading to tomorrow's energy landscape. Germany's fusion vision. Germany is no stranger to ambitious energy projects. They led in solar adoption, pushed for renewables, and even decided to phase out nuclear fission reactors. Now, their gaze turns to fusion. Government officials have spoken publicly about the need to accelerate fusion research. Funding packages are being discussed to support further upgrades to W7X and possibly develop a next-phase prototype. In Greifswald, the mood is optimistic. Not only are they setting records, but they're also shaping policy. Germany aims to lay down frameworks for how a future fusion power plant might be regulated. If they succeed, they won't just have pioneered the machinery. They'll have written the rulebook for fusion's mainstream arrival, the mechanics of plasma. Plasma is often called the fourth state of matter, and controlling it is notoriously difficult. At W7X, hydrogen gas is injected, then energized into plasma at temperatures hitting tens of millions of degrees. The trick is to keep these particles from touching the reactor walls. That's where magnetic fields come in. Stellarators wrap and twist the plasma path so it loops endlessly in mid-air. Any misalignment, however, can let those scorching particles escape and damage the interior. This is why the machine's shape must be perfect. With W7X, they've shown it's possible to hold plasma stable longer, which is exactly what's needed if we ever want continuous fusion energy on demand. Cryogenic extremes. Running a stellarator means juggling fiery plasma with ice-cold magnets. Inside, the plasma's temperature soars to around 20 million degrees Celsius. Just meters away, the superconducting coils must stay near -270 degrees. This massive temperature gap might sound impossible, but Germany's engineering makes it routine. A sprawling cryogenic plant supplies liquid helium through intricate pipelines, keeping coils locked in their superconducting state. Those powerful magnets generate the twisting fields crucial for confining plasma. If the coils warm up, they lose superconductivity, and the entire operation grinds to a halt. It's a dance of extremes, harnessing star-like heat in one chamber while maintaining cosmic cold just a few steps away. Collaborations and partnerships. Though the Wendelstein 7X is a German project, its success is global. Scientists from the United States, Japan, and numerous European countries contribute to data analysis and hardware improvements. Joint research programs allow experts to pool insights and cross-reference findings. Some come for months, others for years, all drawn by the machine's groundbreaking potential. Laboratories worldwide request updates, share experimental tips, and offer new diagnostic tools. Even political tensions struggle to slow this international cooperation because the promise of clean, abundant energy transcends borders. When an issue arises, a glitch in a coil or a puzzle in the plasma, specialists from multiple nations pitch in. In fusion research, collaboration is the catalyst for progress. Beyond 8 minutes. After hitting 8 minutes of stable plasma, the obvious question looms: what's next? Researchers aim to upgrade the cooling systems, refine the plasma exhaust, and push for even longer run times. The dream is continuous operation, no short bursts, but a steady state. That's the main advantage stellarators may hold, the possibility of running indefinitely if the magnets and cooling hold up. By 2027, planners hope to reach 30 minutes of operation or more. It's an evolutionary path. Each step demands fresh materials, better software, and more robust sensors. Yet every extra minute proves that fusion doesn't have to be fleeting. With each new milestone, the gap between theory and application narrows. How far are we from net energy? Producing net energy, where the reactor outputs more power than it consumes, remains fusion's holy grail. W7X isn't designed to achieve that yet. It's primarily a testbed, investigating how best to stabilize plasma. However, its findings directly inform the next generation of reactors, which will tackle net energy head-on. Right now, the gap involves both physics and engineering. The plasma must reach certain temperatures and densities, and the reactor must handle the immense heat without breaking down. But each success story, like those 8-minute runs, pushes us closer. If W7X continues to shine, the next iteration of stellarators might finally tip the balance, generating abundant clean power with minimal waste for the first time in history, comparing to ITER. Meanwhile, the world's biggest fusion project, ITER, continues to rise in southern France. ITER uses the tokamak design, with partners from around the globe contributing billions. Its aim is to show net gain from fusion on an industrial scale. The Wendelstein 7X doesn't compete directly with ITER. It offers a parallel path. If ITER succeeds, it will prove tokamaks viable. If W7X matures, it might show that stellarators are equally or more promising. Both paths could coexist. Fusion isn't a one-size-fits-all field. Different approaches may serve different roles, or one might leap ahead. The excitement lies in the possibilities. For the first time in decades, researchers sense that fusion's future could arrive sooner than expected. Public awareness. Surprisingly, public knowledge of W7X remains limited outside scientific circles. Ask the average person about fusion, and they'll likely mention ITER or have no idea at all. W7X, housed in a relatively small city, doesn't garner the same spotlight. That's slowly changing. Scientists are beginning to talk more openly about the device's breakthroughs, and documentaries occasionally highlight its quirky shape and grand ambition. As climate change concerns rise, so does interest in alternatives. People want to know how we'll power our lives without pouring carbon into the sky. The more the W7X succeeds, the more it enters mainstream conversation. In Greifswald, they believe that once the public realizes what's happening, excitement will take off. The Stellarator revival. Stellarators began as an early fusion concept in the 1950s, but fell out of favor by the 1970s. They were deemed too unwieldy. Yet the W7X has sparked a renaissance. Japan's National Institute for Fusion Science already runs a stellarator called the LHD, Large Helical Device, and now they're watching W7X data closely. In the United States, research on compact stellarators has regained momentum. Even private companies, once fully dedicated to tokamak projects, are testing smaller stellarator prototypes. The revival isn't just about technology, it's about possibility. Stellarators, once overshadowed, are now capturing new funding, talent, and imagination. If W7X remains successful, it might become the template for the next wave of fusion reactors worldwide. Overcoming challenges. None of this means the stellarator path is easy. The complexity of shaping and assembling those magnets is massive, and costs can run sky high. Cooling systems must grow more efficient. And while 8 minutes is a record, scientists still need to jump from minutes to hours, and eventually days of operation. Another challenge is designing materials that can withstand constant neutron bombardment once actual fusion-level power is achieved. There's also the tricky issue of tritium, a radioactive hydrogen isotope needed for optimal fusion. Handling and breeding tritium at scale is no small task. Despite these hurdles, the W7X team remains confident. Every success broadens the horizon of what's achievable in this daring enterprise. A new generation planned. Already, whispers of a future project are surfacing. Some call it Wendelstein 10. Others foresee a collaborative stellarator demonstration power plant. Regardless of the name, the idea is to scale up from experimental runs to a reactor capable of net energy production. Engineers envision bigger coils, improved materials, and an advanced cooling system. Lessons learned from W7X would be applied: how to hold the plasma stable, how to handle intense heat flux, how to automate control. This next reactor would be a stepping stone to commercial fusion power, a place where scientists can tweak real operational conditions. If built, it would stand as an even more spectacular testament to the stellarator dream. Competition and cooperation. Fusion's global stage is simultaneously competitive and cooperative. China, for instance, is building advanced tokamaks while also launching new stellarator initiatives. Japan's LHD collaborates with Germany, exchanging data and techniques. US labs like Princeton and MIT have strong tokamak programs, but also watch stellarator developments with keen interest. Private ventures are racing for breakthroughs, funded by tech billionaires engineers who smell the next big disruption. Yet in fusion, no one truly loses if another project succeeds. Every step forward helps the entire field. The Wendelstein 7X team understands that open data sharing and joint research serve the ultimate goal, making fusion a practical reality. If Stellarrators prove successful, the entire planet benefits, not just one country. The path ahead. So, when will fusion light our homes? The honest answer: nobody knows the exact date, but the momentum is tangible. We're no longer stuck in the loop of always 30 years away. The W7X's achievements have shortened the timeline, at least conceptually. Now governments are aligning policies, private investors are opening wallets, and international teams are forging stronger ties. The next few years will likely see more breakthroughs, spurred by the competition to crack fusion's final barriers. Germany's Stellarator doesn't promise a magic switch on tomorrow, but it does prove that we're closer than ever. With every successful plasma run, that dream of safe, carbon-free energy burns a little brighter and a little longer, a symbol of change. Wendelstein 7X isn't just a machine, it's a symbol of how persistence can defy skeptics, how a country can quietly revolutionize an entire field. In an era fraught with energy crises and climate anxieties, this futuristic reactor stands for hope. Every coil, every plasma discharge represents a step toward a world without fossil fuels. Critics still question whether fusion will arrive in time or at an affordable scale, but the team in Greifswald presses on. They see a future powered by the same forces that fuel stars. It's not a matter of if, but when. And each new milestone at W7X feels like an invitation to believe in the impossible becoming real. The resonance of success. When the W7X achieved its 8-minute record, it sent shockwaves beyond just the fusion community. Environmentalists began to wonder if this truly could be the silver bullet to carbon emissions. Policymakers saw an opportunity to pivot away from debates over nuclear fission and long-term waste storage. Economists recognized a potential industry worth trillions if fusion becomes viable. The ripple effect was profound. Suddenly, a machine that once lived in obscurity was capturing global intrigue. Documentaries explored its coil design. Researchers from other domains, materials science, computer modeling, advanced robotics, found ways to contribute. The resonance grew, and with every mention, public interest in the twisted wonder of Greifswald inched upward. A future foretold. Imagine a future where coal plants sit abandoned, replaced by elegant stellarators humming with plasma. Electric grids no longer strain under peak demand. The energy flows endlessly. Carbon emissions plummet, and the biggest environmental threat becomes a historical footnote. That's the promise of fusion done right. Of course, reality won't transform overnight. Stellarator-based power plants will need years of testing, adjustments, and large-scale manufacturing. But the foundation is here, built on the backs of visionaries who refuse to give up on a dream that once seemed impossible. The Wendelstein 7X might be the first chapter in that story, a milestone that future generations could point to and say, that's where it all began. Wendelstein 7X stands as a testament to human ingenuity, quietly defying old limits and igniting fresh hope for clean energy. Its twisted coils and shimmering plasma might be the keys to powering our world without wrecking our planet. From a small German town, a global revolution could unfold. The sky isn't the limit, it's only the beginning. Thanks for watching.